Welcome to another episode of Blake's Everyday Podcast. So last night we finished at the end of chapter 22 of Second Kings, and tonight we might even, eh, 23 is pretty long. We might finish Second Kings tonight, but we'll see. So I prayed pretty hard last night, even after the video, just for strength and you know, uh, strength and guidance to get through, some of the temptations of the things that I've been going through. Uh, and I'll hint at what my issues are by saying it's not alcohol. I'm not really caring to drink any alcohol right now, but man, it's been rough. For the past week, ever since I really started praying for to deliver me from my lustful ways and stuff. It's been kind of a struggle. I've tried and I've tried, and last night I prayed really, really hard over the issue, and I definitely felt, uh, a huge change today, and all glory to God. I mean, it's only been a day, but it's still a struggle, obviously, and I think a lot of men deal with it as well. But I was watching a video last night about it. So, and just to kind of get my confidence up and try to keep praying. That's my biggest obstacle is I don't pray enough. I need to pray whenever I feel that urge or anything. I need to just drop and just pray. Go, okay, Lord, I need you to strengthen me through this right now, Lord, as I'm fighting this challenge right now, and I need your strength to get through it, to deliver me from this temptation, and that's that's I've found that that's what I need to do, and I need to pray more about it and talk more about it, be open about it, and I brought it up at like the Bible study thing last night, even, and talked about it with my father-in-law actually, about it. It's because it's a true struggle, man, and we all go through it. And you need to confide in people. You need to talk to people that are going to hold you accountable. You need to pray about it, and you need to pray as much as you need to. Well, pray as much as you can. Talking to God is you should talk to God as much as you can. So, um, so tonight, back on track. Chapter 23. The title is Josiah Renews the Covenant. So, like I was saying, we finished chapter 22, the end of chapter 2 last night. We're, I'm not gonna lie. Chapter 23 seems like it's pretty long. It's not as long as I thought, but we'll see. I mean, we might be able to finish Second Kings tonight. I'm not gonna hold myself to it just because, in the off chance that we don't, I don't want to upset anybody, but we might. So then the king called together all the elders of Judah and Jerusalem. He went up to the temple of the Lord with the people of Judah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, the priests and the prophets, all the people from the least to the greatest. He read, and their hearing all the words of the book of the covenant, which had been found in the temple of the Lord. The king stood by the pillar and renewed the covenant in the presence of the Lord, to follow the Lord and keep his commandments, statutes statutes and decrees with all his heart and all his soul, thus confirming the words of the covenant written in this book. Then all the people pledged themselves to the covenant. The king ordered Hilkiah, the high priest, the priests next in rank, and the doorkeepers to remove from the temple of the Lord all the articles made for Baal, whatever, and Asherah, and all the starry hosts. He burned them outside Jerusalem in the fields of the Kidron Valley, and took the ashes to Bethel. He did away with the idolatrous priests appointed of the kings of Judah to burn incense on the high places of the towns of Judah and on those around Jerusalem, those who burned incense to Baal, to the sun and moon, to the constellations, and to all the starry hosts. He took the Asherah pole from the temple of the Lord to the Kidron Valley outside Jerusalem and burned it there. He ground it to powder and scattered the dust over the graves of the common people. He also tore down the quarters of the male shrine prostitutes that were in the temple of the Lord, the quarters where women did weaving for Asherah. Josiah brought all the priests from the towns of Judah and desecrated the high places from Geba to Beersheba, where the priests had burned incense. He broke down the gateway at the entrance of the gate of Joshua, the city governor, which was on the left of the city gate. Although the priests of the high places did not serve at the altar of the Lord in Jerusalem, they ate unleavened bread with their fellow priests. He desecrated Topheth, which was in the valley of Ben Hinnom. No one, so no one could use. Hold on, sorry. So no one could use it to sacrifice their son or daughter in the fire to Molech. Moloch. He removed from the entrance to the temple of the Lord the horses that the kings of Judah had dedicated to the sun. They were in the court near the room of an official named Nathan Malik. Josiah then burned the chariots dedicated to the sun. He pulled down the altars the kings of Judah had erected on the roof near the upper room of Ahaz, and the altars Manasseh had built in the two courts of the temple of the Lord. He removed them from there, smashed them to pieces, and threw the rubble into the Kidron Valley. The king also desecrated the high places that were east of Jerusalem on the south of the hill of corruption, the one Solomon king of Israel had built for Ashtoreth, the vile goddess of the Sidonians, for Chemosh, the vile god of Moab, and for Molech, the detestable god of the people of Ammon. Josiah smashed the sacred stones and cut down the Asherah poles and covered the sites with human bones. Even the altar at Bethel, the high place, made by Jeroboam son of Nebat. Oh, just accidentally folded a couple pieces of paper. Uh, who had caused Israel to sin, even that altar and high place he demolished. He burned the high place and ground it to powder, and burned the Asherah pole also. Then Josiah looked around, and when he saw the tombs that were there on the hillside, he had the bones removed from them and burned on the altar to defile it, in accordance with the word of the Lord, proclaimed by the man of God who foretold these things. The king asked, What is that tombstone I see?" The people of the city said, "It marks the tomb of the man of God who came from Judah and pronounced against the altar of Bethel, the very things you have done to it. Leave it alone, he said. Don't let anyone disturb his bones. So they spared his bones and those of the prophet who had come from Samaria. Just as he had done at Bethel, Josiah removed all the shrines at the high places that the kings of Israel had built in the towns of Samaria, and that had aroused the Lord's anger. Josiah slaughtered all the priests of those high places on the altars and burned human bones on them. Then he went back to Jerusalem. The king gave this order to all the people: Celebrate the Passover to the Lord your God, as it is written in the book of the covenant. Neither in the days of the judges who led Israel, nor in the days of the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah had any such Passover been observed. But in the 18th year of King Josiah, this Passover was celebrated to the Lord in Jerusalem. Furthermore, Josiah got rid of the mediums and spiritists, the household gods, the idols, and all the other detestable things seen in Judah and Jerusalem. This he did to fulfill the requirements of the law written in but the book that Hilkiah the priest had discovered in the temple of the Lord. Neither before nor after Josiah was there a king like him who turned to the Lord as he did, with all his heart and with all his soul and with all his strength, in accordance with all the law of Moses. Nevertheless, the Lord did not turn away from the heart of his fierce anger, which burned against Judah, because of all that Manasseh had done to arouse his anger. So the Lord said, I will remove Judah also from the presence as I removed Israel, and I will reject Jerusalem, the city I chose, and this temple about which I said, My name shall be there. As for the other events of Josiah's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? While Josiah was king, Pharaoh Necho, king of Egypt, went up to the Euphrates River to help the king of Assyria, King Josiah. Just making sure. King Josiah marched out to meet him in battle, but Necho faced him and killed him at Megiddo. Josiah's servants brought his body in a chariot from Megiddo to Jerusalem and buried him in his own tomb. And the people of the land took Jehoahaz, son of Josiah, and anointed him and made him king in place of his father. Jehoahaz was 23 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah. She was from Libnah. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just as his predecessors had done. Pharaoh Necho put him in chains at Riblah in the land of Hamath, so that he might not reign in Jerusalem. And he imposed on Judah a levy of 100 talents, of silver and a talent of gold. Pharaoh Necho made Eliakim, son of Josiah, king in place of his father Josiah, and changed Eliakim's name to Jehoiakim. But he took wow, my bad. My eyes are really bad, I guess. I had this problem last night too. But he took Jehoahaz and carried him off to Egypt, and there he died. Jehoiakim paid Pharaoh Necho the silver and gold he demanded. In order to do so, he taxed the land and exacted the silver and gold from the people of the land according to their assessments. So 24 continues on. And so does 25. So I guess we really don't have any other option. We're reading these next two chapters. We're finishing the book, the Second Kings tonight. But yeah, so I'm gonna just take a quick break and just get a good old sip of soda. All right. Jehoiakim was 25 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother's name was Zebedah, daughter of Pedaiah. She was from Ramah, and he did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just as his predecessors had done. During Jehoiakim's reign, oh my gosh, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, invaded the land, and Jehoiakim became his vassal for 3 years. But then he turned against Nebuchadnezzar and rebelled. The Lord sent Babylonian, Aramean, Moabite, and Ammonite raiders against him to destroy Judah, in accordance with the word of the Lord proclaimed by his servants, the prophets. Surely these things happened to Judah according to the Lord's command, in order to remove them from his presence because of the sins of Manasseh and all he had done, including the shedding of innocent blood. For he had filled Jerusalem with innocent blood, and the Lord was not willing to forgive. As for the other events of Jehoiakim's reign and all he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? Jehoiakim rested with his ancestors, and Jehoiachin, his son, succeeded him as king. Just making sure. The king of Egypt did not march out from his own country again, because the king of Babylon had taken all his territory from the Wadi of Egypt to the Euphrates River. Jehoiachin was 18 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 3 months. His mother's name was Nehushta, daughter of Elnathan. She was from Jerusalem. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just as his father had done. At that time, the officers of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, advanced on Jerusalem and laid siege on it. And Nebuchadnezzar himself came up to the city while his officers were besieging it. Jehoiachin, king of Judah, his mother, his attendants, his nobles, and his officials all surrendered to him. In the 8th year of the reign of the king of Babylon, he took Jehoiachin prisoner, as the Lord had declared. Nebuchadnezzar removed the treasures from the temple of the Lord and from the royal palace, and cut up the gold articles that Solomon, king of Israel, had made for the temple of the Lord. He carried all Jerusalem into exile, all the officers and fighting men, and all the skilled workers and artisans, a total of 10,000. Only the poorest people of the land were left. Nebuchadnezzar took Jehoiachin captive to Babylon. He also took from Jerusalem to Babylon the king's mother, his wives, his officials, and the prominent people of the land. The king of Babylon also deported to Babylon the entire force of 7,000 fighting men, strong and fit for war, and 1,000 skilled workers and artisans. He made Mattaniah, Jehoiachin's uncle, king in his place, and changed his name to Zedekiah. Zedekiah was 21 years old when he became king, and he reigned in Jerusalem 11 years. His mother's name was Hamutal, daughter of Jeremiah. She was from Libnah. He did evil in the eyes of the Lord, just as Jehoiakim had done. It was because of the Lord's anger that all this happened to Jerusalem and Judah. And in the end he thrust them from his presence. Now Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. So in the 9th year of Zedekiah's reign, on the 10th day of the 10th month, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, marched against Jerusalem with his whole army. He encamped outside the city and built sieged works all around it. The city was kept under siege until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. Just making sure. You never be too careful. I'm gonna start putting these on the charger like every night. You almost have to. I just don't want them to die while I'm reading. By the 9th day of the 4th month, the famine in the city had become so severe that there was no food for the people to eat. Then the city wall was broken through, and the whole army fled at night through the gate between the two walls near the king's garden. Though the Babylonians were surrounding the city, they fled toward the Arabah. But the Babylonian army pursued the king and overtook him in the plains at Jericho. All his soldiers were separated from him and scattered, and he was captured. He was taken to the king of Babylon at Riblah, where sentence was pronounced on him. They killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes. Then they put out his eyes, bound him with bronze shackles, and took him to Babylon. On the 7th day of the 5th month, in the 19th year of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, Nebuzaradan, commander of the imperial guard and official of the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. He set fire to the temple of the Lord, the royal palace, and all the houses of Jerusalem. Every important building he burned down. The whole Babylonian army, under the commander of the imperial guard, broke down the walls around Jerusalem. Nebuzaradan, the commander of the guard, carried into exile the people who remained in the city, along with the rest of the populace and those who had deserted the king of Babylon. But the commander left behind some of the poorest people of the land to work the vineyards and fields. The Babylonians broke up the bronze pillars, the movable stands, and the bronze sea that were at the temple of the Lord, and they carried the bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, shovels, wick trimmers, dishes, and all the bronze articles used in the temple service. The commander of the imperial guard took away the censers and sprinkling bowls, all that were made of pure gold or silver. The bronze from the two pillars, the sea, and the movable stands which Solomon had made for the temple of the Lord was more than could be weighed. Each pillar was 18 cubits high. The bronze capital on top of the pillar of one pillar was 3 cubits high, and was decorated with a network and pomegranates of bronze all around. The other pillar with its network was similar. The commander of the guard took as prisoners Sariah, the chief priest, Zephaniah, the priest next in rank, and the 3 doorkeepers. Of those still in the city, he took the officer in charge of the fighting men and the 5 royal advisers. He also took the secretary, who was chief officer in charge of the conscripting the people of the land, and 60 of the conscripts who were found in the city. Nebuzaradan, the commander, took them all and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. There at Riblah, in the land of Hamath, the king had them executed. So Judah went into captivity away from her land. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, appointed Gedaliah, son of Ahikam, Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, to be over the people he had left behind in Judah. When all the army officers and their men heard that the king of Babylon had appointed Gedaliah as governor, they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah. Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, Johanan, son of Kareah, Sariah, son of Tanhumeth, the Netophathite, Jazaniah, the son of Makathite, and their men. Gedaliah took an oath to reassure them and their men, "Do not be afraid of the Babylonian officials." He said, "Settle down in the land and serve the king of Babylon, and it will go well with you." In the 7th month, however, Ishmael, son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama, who was of royal blood, came with 10 men and assassinated Gedaliah and also the men of Judah. And the Babylonians who were with him at Mizpah, at this all the people, from the least to the greatest, together with the army officers, fled to Egypt for fear of the Babylonians. And the 37th year of the exile of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, and the year Marduk became king of Babylon, he released Jehoiachin, king of Judah, from prison. He did this on the 27th day of the 12th month. He spoke kindly to him and gave him a seat of honor higher than those of the officer of the other kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiachin put aside his prison clothes, and for the rest of his life ate regularly at the king's table. Day by day, the king gave Jehoiachin a regular allowance as long as he lived. Okay, and surprisingly, we don't really have too many descriptions here. Just making sure. All right, yeah. So once I finish these descriptions, that'll be the end of Second Kings. Chapter 23, verse 36 through chapter 24, verse 4. The reign of King Jehoiakim of Judah was basically an 11-year military and political nightmare. Rather than admitting his hopeless situation and turning to God, Jehoiakim continued to try to maneuver his way out of each successive crisis. As disaster after disaster befell Jehoiakim, his resistance to the truth only deepened. He continued to trust in his own power and sank deeper into despair. There is no need to continue in the nightmare of sin. If we are willing to see the truth and face the reality of our situation, we can turn to God for help. He will help us to break out of our own downward spiral. I like that. Chapter 25, verses 8 through 26. Like it or not, Judah finally had to face the truth. King Nebuchadnezzar ordered Jerusalem, the once proud capital of Judah, to be destroyed. He plundered the city and temple, carrying all its valuables off to Babylon. Realistically, the restoration of Judah was now humanly impossible. What was needed was a full-scale resurrection for God's people. God has to allow some of us to come to a point where life seems to be over, leaving us in a situation that is humanly impossible to bear. At that point, we may become open to the possibility of the new life offered by Jesus Christ. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone. The new is here. New life and restoration are possible no matter how impossible the situation. All that we need to do is ask Jesus Christ into our lives. Then he will take away our sins and give us a new start. That is true spiritual renewal. Absolutely. Chapter 25, verses 27 through 30. The kindness shown to captive King Jehoiachin by Awil Marduk decorates the tragic conclusion of Kings with a glimmer of hope. With the Babylonian exile came to the destruction of Jerusalem and an end to the rule of the Davidic kings. Many exiled people lost all hope that God might still be with them. They probably thought that God's promises to his people through Abraham and David were no longer valid. When they heard that Jehoiachin, one of David's descendants, was being treated well in exile, however, hope must have stirred in their heavy hearts. Perhaps God's promises to them were still valid. The continued story of rebuilding after the exile shows us that this was true. God still planned for their restoration. And through this broken nation, the kings of kings, Jesus the Messiah, would be born. No matter how terrible a situation we face, there is hope for the future. Our sin has been paid for by the works of God's Son. God is still in business of restoration. Wow, that was awesome. All right, so we are done with Second Kings. Wow, we are just scooting right along. All right. Dear God, we just come to you tonight just grateful for another opportunity of reading your word, Lord. I'm just so grateful for the strength that you've continued to give me, Lord, especially today, God, as you've given me the power to push past any struggles and any temptations that I might have had today. I've been able to work through you, Lord, and have you work through me, Lord, and just giving me the strength to get through any situation that have compromised me. God, I just pray that you continue to strengthen me and push me in the right direction, Lord, and just give me the strength that I need to fight these urges, fight these demons, Lord. And I will continue to pray, Lord, and I will start making it more of a habit to pray to you whenever I have these urges or problems with my strength, Lord. And we're just so blessed to just be able to talk to you, Lord. And I'm just so grateful for everything and every opportunity that you've given me and my family, and just kept safety over our heads. And Lord, we're just so grateful. In God's name. All right. Well, I hope you guys had a great Saturday. Tomorrow's Sunday. So tomorrow's church day. So I hope everybody has a great day at church tomorrow. Enjoy it. I hope you have a great message. I hope you hear a great one. I hope you guys just hear. I hope something just pops to you, and really hope for that. But have a great rest of your night. Good night.